Right, so this video will be restoring this item, which is a GEC Ammeter. It's meant for a dynamo set, and I believe it's off the front of something like a traction engine. I'll put a brief little photo up here just to show you where that would be. Now, this was very, very rusted. It obviously spent a long time outside. I bought it off eBay for not very much money, so the first thing I had to do was try and get it apart, which I started off by just sort of using some penetrating oil and trying to undo some of the screws. I got some undone like this. I got one out of the little nameplate that covers the adjustment, and then one of the others out, and then I had to resort to this, which is just grinding the screws out basically, because yes, there's other things you could try, like heating them. I tried sort of hammering them and then undoing them, but in the end just settled for grinding them out because they were very, very rusted. Then giving the outer casing just a good wash in just hot soapy water, bit of fairy liquid on there just to get a lot of the dirt off because it was also very dirty. So then I had to get the remains of these screws out, which I did by grinding a slot into the end of the remains of the screw and pulling them out just with a normal slot head screwdriver. Also took the dial off the front to give that a bit of a clean. So I took that outside the main body of it and wire wheeled it to take most of the rust off. Then I'm starting here with the two-part car filler, which is basically just to try and get rid of some of the pitting, because the rust was so bad on this, it had actually pitted the metal quite badly. So I'm just filling most of that pitting. So, I'm keeping some of it. I'm keeping some of the history of it, but just trying to smooth out the worst of it, because at the top the metal had gone quite thin from the pitting. I'm just sanding that back with sandpaper and a little sanding wheel. So, once we've got that smooth, which it's starting to get there now, I'm gonna basically I did some filler primer, then a standard grey primer, then a gloss black. Now I haven't touched the front. With that being that sort of hobnail pattern, I couldn't really wire wheel it, so instead I'm using some of this Hammerite rust converter on it to basically stabilise the rust, and it sort of turns it a black colour, which is a very close match to the black paint I've used on the rest of it anyway. So I did that with the little name badge as well. This is just, as I say, to stabilise the rust and prevent it from getting any worse. Then I went on to reassembling it, put the dial back in, obviously after giving it a clean. I had tried to take the glass out, but whatever it had been glued in with didn't want to move, so I ended up leaving it in. So that was just putting the retaining screws back in. The screws that I ground out, I've replaced with new stainless steel ones. Basically, that was seemed to be the best way of doing it, and it means if I do ever use this outside in the future, which I'm not planning to, it will mean that those won't rust. That's just getting the zero adjusted on it, and then the next stage was, because this these tend to have like a shiny edge so on the raised detail, so I'm just going over this with that little grinding wheel, just grinding back the paint to reveal the bare metal, so it will have that shiny metal look around the edges of the dials. Now, how I know this is off a traction engine rather than something like a power station generator set is because it's a DC amp meter rather than an AC amp meter. So it's off a dynamo rather than a generator. So my suspicion is it's off either a traction engine or a stationary engine, something like perhaps fairground equipment or something like that. This will become part of my steampunk PC. It's something I've been looking for a while. I've been looking for one at a reasonable price, and I managed to find this one on eBay that was it was quite a low price just because it was so rusty and dirty and didn't really look anything. Now I had to put the badge back on like that because one of the screws I just couldn't get out, so I've just sort of threaded it off again and then on again. and then I'm just cleaning up that last little screw on the grinding wheel over the other side of the workshop and getting that put in. So that's that all together. So now just giving everything a wipe over. This thing is just with a bit of meths on a cloth just to get the any dirt out of it. Then I'm going to mask off that the glass, because as I say, I can't take the glass out. It's glued in, and I don't want to risk breaking it. So that's, and then I'll trim that mask off, because what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go over the entire thing with a clear enamel lacquer, which will stop any future rust and just make the surface really hard wearing. That's the enamel lacquer. I did that outside, same with the other painting, which is why it's not shown on video. So pulling all that tape off, just to get back to the glass, and then just went over that with a bit of rag and some white spirit, which is basically just to get the tape residue and any paint that's seeped under the tape off. So yeah, quite a quick little restoration. That's what it looked like in the end. Hopefully some more build videos coming soon. Please like and subscribe.